Well, welcome to the show, everybody. I'll just get my stream up and running, and I'll be right with you in a moment. All right, welcome to the show, everybody. It's welcome to the show, everybody. It's welcome to the show, everybody. Probably need to mute my system here. That should be better now. Thanks for joining me on the live stream. I'm a little bit disorganized today. I had this all set up to go a few moments ago, and the camera is on a tripod, a very different, a gimbal type tripod, so quite precarious, and it's on a lazy Susan, and I managed to tip it off completely, so had an aborted start about 30 minutes ago. Welcome, Frugal Wanderer, thanks for tuning in. Love you coming along for a few minutes each time I crank up the Vart machine. Did you get some cooking done? Well, that's an interesting one because I posted the shopping haul, which a lot of people have commented on, and it's been going pretty hard. But I did have a comment about what's with the cooking, because we thought everybody was eating out because it's so cheap here in Vietnam. So look, the truth be told, hi Brendan, hi Mingang. If you have any trouble with the sound, let me know. I'm trying to speak clearly and slowly. Welcome, Morgan. I did do some of the cooking. I cooked the 4 chicken legs. I cooked 1 chicken leg and it was delicious. And I actually put that chicken into a congee, saved the bones for the dogs, which I probably wasn't supposed to do, and I ate that really well. I then thought, well, let's be a bit clever and cook the other 3 chicken legs, and I managed to burn them completely. And so I fed them to the dogs, just the chicken meat, because apparently the black burnt meat we're not supposed to eat. Now, I would have eaten it, but I was told not to eat it. So, look, all good intentions having a shopping haul, but I have to say, I'm not very good at cooking. The chicken is gone. Everything else is still in the fridge because, as was commented by a subscriber earlier on, I have been out for dinner. I've had a duck fest, I've had a snail fest, and I've had a squid fest. So look out for those Varts coming up in the future. Hi Solomon, thanks for joining. It's 4:30 here in Ha Long Bay. I see we've got Morgan from the US, so let me know where you're connecting up from when you do connect up. And what I wanted to do today was run through some of the questions that I get on the channel, and use this as a bit of a Q&A open forum to answer all those questions. So the first question was really one that I got today. Hey, what are you cooking for when you should be eating out in the street? And that is correct. So while a shopping haul makes for good YouTube viewing, it's not that practical here in the land of the Rising Dragon. Still to go are 10 eggs. And don't know when I'm going to ever eat 10 eggs, but we'll see how we go. And I've probably got 10 little quail eggs as well, so maybe an omellette's coming up at some stage. Had a bit of a crisis with the burnt chicken because that was okay. I burnt that in a non-stick pan, not a non-burn pan, a non-stick pan. So managed to burn the chicken but save the pan. And then I have a little thing for breakfast called a bangzor, and it's wrapped up in banana leaves. It's a porky, floury goodness. And basically you steam that. You buy it at the shop, they're $1 each, and you steam that. So I tried to steam it without any water. And when I came back to check the pot, there was smoke coming. It was getting smoked rather than steamed. And I burnt the bottom of the pot as black as this remote control. I thought the pot was done for, but I got the cleaning lady onto it. And I think it was apple cider vinegar that was used, soaked in that, and then actually got some sandpaper out. So we had leftover sandpaper here from the construction job. A piece of sandpaper in the bottom of the pot cleaned out the pot. So very, very good housekeeping tip there. Apple cider vinegar, soak it overnight and then hit it with the sandpaper. So that's the cooking story. Hi Brendan, nice to see you. I'm somehow the YouTube algorithm is sending me Brendan's shorts from 6 months ago, but I'm getting a great view of Jonty in Thailand, so that's great. Congee is probably my favourite food. You might see I've started a short series called The Congee Files, and I've got to spread them out a bit because I'd eat congee every day if I could. So yeah, it's like a rice porridge with a whole lot of goodness in it. So I try to limit my congee because it just means I'm eating a field of rice. Vinegar does the trick, cleaning burnt bits. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, and I'm surprised about that because I should have known that, being an old man. But obviously I was surprised. Needless to say, no more cooking to be done. I've actually demonstrated that I can't cook, and so I can stand back and don't have to cook anymore. I'm trying to have these live streams coming from different places. So it's, live at Rachel's house, live at Down Under, live at the Dragon Castle, and today I've got live at the couch. This is the couch here. The reason you get the torso shot is that I've got a pair of shorts on, and if I bring the camera down, you're looking straight at my bare legs, and it's probably not going to be anything you want to look at for an hour. I did get myself a coffee before we started. I'm going to run for about an hour and see how we go. Look, yeah, Brendan, you're putting the pressure on me with this video editing app. I use iMovie, which is just the stock standard Apple one. I've managed to put a bit of music against, I've managed to drop the sound on some things that are quite loud and put a bit of music against things that don't have any sound. So I'm getting a little bit more progressed on that. I think I've got to make the decision as to whether I'm making YouTubes or I'm just filming stuff for myself, and that's probably going to happen in the next 3 VARTs that I upload, because I noticed I'm at 97, and when I get to 100 I'll probably get a letter from the king and turn the corner. But yeah, video editing is something I need to get on top of. I find it boring, like all videographers. I like making the content and telling you little stories about my life here in Vietnam, but I don't like the hard work of making it look like something that somebody would want to watch. So it's probably a work in progress, that one, but I'm kind of inspired to be a bit of a better editor, because I do have a bit of spare time now, and for about the next 6 weeks. But then I look at, Frugal Wanderer and Brendan's channel, and I think I'm never going to be able to do that, so give up. Can I move the camera a bit closer because the sound is down? I certainly can. What I can do is I can probably take the microphone off and just use the iPhone sound. Now that is going to be very loud for you, and the reason I know that is because I dropped the camera off the desk here a moment ago and the microphone pulled out. So if you'd like me to do that, you give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to just turn up your volume at home, give it a thumbs down. We'll take a vote in the channel. The reason I can read the comments is I'm filming this on my iPhone, but I have you streaming to the big screen TV on the wall there, so it's useful for me to just read them off the TV. I'll crank up the sound, Brendan. I've got the thumbs up, and what I'll do is I'll pull the cheap stick it in your iPhone camera out, and we'll run with the iPhone for a little while. Now if it's too echoey or whatever, let me know. I've got an air conditioner going up here. The air conditioner today is good Lord. I've got to fix the camera here because I've knocked it sideways a little. There we go. We're on a tall tripod. No, I'm joking with you. I'm not even talking. How's that, Brendan? Oh, that's much louder. So what I've got is I've got this little thing here that sticks in my iPhone. It's got a microphone on it that you can direct. And what I had on it just then, which may have been deadening it, is the fluffy thing. So I've got a ball that goes on there. I've got a naked one to raw dog it. And I've got a fluffy thing. Now when I'm outside, the fluffy thing works well because it knocks out the noise, and when it's on my stick, it's close to me. So I point the microphone direct to Steve and keeps the sound out. But in the room here, happy to go off the iPhone. I did have lunch today. I had squid for lunch today, and there was a guy there filming with the fancy Insta360 sort of camera that he just pops on the desk and did his lunch and off he went. So, you know, if I had $1,000 to spend, I'd do that. Right, you can still hear the aircon. Well, what I can do is I've got a couple of things I can do to fix that one. Just give me 1 second, Brendan. I will find the remote for the fan. I have a fan. Right. The fan is off, so maybe that will save a bit of noise. The AC up above me stays on, unfortunately. I've got it set on 27 today. It's pretty warm here. And I can always crank that down to 26 or 25. But I looked at the temperature when I went out today, and it was 33, feels like 39. And that was pretty warm out there with a 25 km/h wind. So it was quite windy, but still very hot. I wanted to get out in the street, so live at the street for Vietnam Steve, but two things have held me up. One is not sure of the 4G out in the street, and the second is it's quite hot, and the third is I'm going through a Q&A today, so I've got a long list of questions people have been asking. Yeah, Solomon, a good question about getting an e-bike. Look, I talk about it, and you know, any of you that know me would know that there's a lot of talk, but sometimes there's not much action. Gee, that iPhone's cracking if you can hear that air conditioner. Let's see if I can, oh, the fan's on auto and the temperature's on 27. and it's getting hot. Probably need to invest in some better equipment, don't I? The e-bike, I'd love an e-bike, simply because I'm on one side of Ha Long. There's a big bridge in Ha Long. Think San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, think Sydney Harbour Bridge, think Ha Long Bridge. And my life is on the other side, the old town, but I live over on the tourist side, the new town. So I'd love to have my little e-bike to go up over the bridge and see what's going on over there. But realistically, it's not going to happen. And there's two reasons for that. Number one is it's very hot outside, so it's all right to think it would be nice to e-bike around, but when would I ever do it? Because it's actually quite hot. If it's not hot, it's raining. We've had rain on and off here today. Secondly, I'm quite old, so if I had a spill, I may not heal as well as I used to. And there was a third reason. I just don't think I'll get the use out of it. I can't really remember the third reason, but don't want to have a stack because that will be a problem for an elderly gentleman in Vietnam. And taxis are so cheap, you know. For me to go from here to the other side of town, it's $2 or $3. So why would I not just get someone to drive me? Morgan, thanks for subscribing to the Frugal Wanderer. Yeah, the snail vart's a good one, Frugal Wanderer. Look, it's just going to a snail restaurant, and I find it's very noisy in restaurants, and YouTube doesn't like noise and doesn't like popular music, so that probably rules out, you know, everywhere we want to go in life. The funny thing was, I went last night to a duck fest, because I don't mind a good duck, and I sat down there. I've agreed with Mrs. Vietnam, Steve, that we're going to film this one. It's going to be intrusive, but you know, at least we'll have going to the restaurant, ordering the food, getting the food, eating the food, going home. Sat down at the restaurant and ordered the food, and this lady comes walking up, and I thought, that looks like my sister-in-law. Lo and behold, sister-in-law and brother-in-law have come to the same restaurant in the whole of Ha Long to have a duck feast as well, unbeknownst to me. So couldn't really film the dinner with guests there. It's a bit rude. So there is a snail vart, there is a duck vart, and there is a squid vart. I had squid for lunch today, so they're backing up a little bit, but they're only 4 or 5 minutes. So you know, I could get bored one night when I go to bed and just punch one out a little bit earlier. Live on the street, yeah, I've done it before. I went really well, Brendan, and then I was going past the markets and I thought, God, that's great. Let's duck into those markets. Well, you get into the markets, there's no 4G in there, so difficult. But out in the street here is good. About a block and a half from me is a shady street, so that's always a good thing. And they've got those exercise equipments out there, so I'd be interested in giving that one a bit of a story to you. Morgan's not going this far north this year. Where are you, Morgan? Just going back, can't see. Where are you, Morgan? I've been south this year. I've been to Ho Chi Minh a few times. I'm going to Ninh Binh next week. I've booked a place on the river there, and I'm going to Ninh Binh, and I'll have some happy snaps of Ninh Binh next week. Vietnam people like to go on holidays. You know, in Australia, when we have holidays, people think, thank goodness I've got a holiday. I'm going to stay home, mow the lawn, trim the hedges, paint the spare room, get a few jobs done. Vietnamese people are the opposite. I've got 1 day off work. That means I've got a 3-day weekend. I'll go to XYZ town. So they like to then they like to get away. So getting away with a couple of friends of mine and off to Ninh Binh. Now the 4G coverage is good, Brendan. This apartment, I've got top shelf internet, gigabyte internet, 1,000 up, 1,000 down, $20 a month. So streaming from here, I can do all day. Out in the street, the 4G is good. You'll get the little dial on your speed test. It'll say it's, 100 up, 100 down, which is as good as anywhere in the West. The problem, I think, is when you go from one tower to the next, you're losing just a little bit. I'm not exactly sure. I'll give it a shot and let you know. And so, I'm a bit out of the city streets here, so I should be okay. But when you go around the city streets, you could go around a corner, find yourself on a new tower, and have a bit of a hiccup in the live stream. I noticed a couple of test ones I did. There was a little bit of pixelation in the whole process. And also, because I stream from my iPhone, I can't actually see your messages. I see the messages coming up, but I'm not fast enough to read them. At the moment, I've got them on a big screen TV, so that's great. Ho Chi Minh is great, Frugal Wanderer. I will be there on the 21st, I think, but only just for an overnight. So maybe we'll touch base on the email and see how things go. I'm ducking overseas on, I think it's the 22nd on the Monday, but I have to go to Ho Chi Minh the day before because my flight leaves early in the morning and I've been let down by the worst airline in the world getting there in the past. So we'll meet up. I'll try and, I haven't booked my flight down on the Sunday yet, but I'm going to try and get out of here about lunchtime, so I should be there by 2 or 3. And after that, we can go and have a bite to eat somewhere. Or a pizza. I know a great pizza place there. Yeah, tell me about the $90. Yeah, it's very difficult. I like the, I'm paying a bit more than that in Australia, Brendan. I've got 40 upload, but I've also got my son there who's a gamer, so he's sort of paying half of that at the moment. But yeah, this is just standard internet. I mean, if you want the, and with that $20 comes the little box that brings a gazillion TV channels to your life as well. Can't say I've used that. I just log into YouTube, that's it. Planning on coming back this year to Saigon. Da Nang and Dalat. Toi Hoa, yeah, lovely. I was going to go to Dalat actually next week, but Dalat was booked out. So a lot of people went to Dalat, and where I wanted to stay was booked out. So we've changed to Ninh Binh, and we're off there. Easy to get around in Vietnam. If we flew there. Well, easy to get around. We're going with 6 or 7 people. 4, 5, 6, 8 people, maybe 9 people. And it's going to cost, I forget what it was going to cost, but I think it's $2 million. Now, $2 million is about $130. So for $130 Australian, so $100 US, I'm hiring what's called a limousine here. It's a 14-person bus. So we'll have 8 people in the 14-person bus. But he'll stay there for the 2 days and drive us back. So 3-hour drive there, stays overnight, and will drive us back. And it was, I think, $2 million all in. So very, very cheap to get around here. Rachel has the slowest internet in the world. That sounds like the topic for a YouTube VART. And you might remember my last live stream was live at Rachel's house. Well, that's Rachel that's just joined the chat. So thank you for letting me live stream from your house, Rachel. It worked okay, so not as slow as you think. Have I taken the train yet? I haven't taken any trains yet, Morgan. When I Google up how long to Hanoi, for a train. It says there is a train, but when I mention that to the locals here, they laugh. So there is a train on YouTube, on Google. It takes 7 hours, and I thought that would be some pretty solid content. I could sort of channel my inner Mr. Bald and go on a train trip for 7 hours to Hanoi. People here don't think there is a train, so they laugh at me. But yeah, I'll do something like that. Next one's going to be my bus trip to Ninh Bình, so that'll be good. Thanks for all the comments that are coming through. That makes a live stream easy. And I guess the first question people always ask me, I've got quite a few here. I might not get through them all with the way we're going, but they always want to know where I am. They always say, where are you right now? And I do get around a little bit. So I thought I'd give you a bit of background on where I am. Oh yeah, 8 hours on the train. That would be mind-numbing. Look, great scenery, but I don't think the seats are that comfortable. I'm in Ha Long right now. Ha Long is divided into two sides. One side is called Bai Chai, and that is where a lot of the tourist stuff is. The other side is Hong Gai, that's the old town and where the port is. And so I'm on the Bai Chai side, and I've been over to Hong Gai today, had a coconut coffee over there, and I'm back here now in the Dragon Castle. But I'm always interested to know where people are. So always put in when you come on a live stream where you are, and that also makes everybody feel like they're getting a worldwide chat happening. The second, and that one came from David J. He always asks, where are you right now? So I'm right now in Ha Long, been here for about a month. I do have to duck to Australia in another couple of weeks, and then I'm only going there for a week, and then I'll be back for another couple of months. So it's going to be a short and fast trip. Nebraska. Words escape me, Morgan. Words escape me. I've been watching a lot of US stuff on the YouTube that's interrupting my my travel vlogs. Had a tip for long periods away. So one of my most recent VARTs was some tips for what you need to do when you're getting away on a trip, and it's turn off the lights, check the mail, mow the lawns. Well, I had a great tip from Yami Mata, and Yamui Mata said, what about getting some of these smart light bulbs that you can control over the internet? And I thought that's a great idea. I've always looked at them. I've got all the gear for a smart house. I just don't have a smart house, and they are expensive, but they would be good if you were away. You could turn the lights on, turn the lights off when you go in and out. I did work with a colleague that had a smart house, and I picked him up one day and everything was turned off, and he came out to the car, and then he realised he left something inside, but it took him a minute to get the house open because he had to do it on his phone. He didn't have good 4G where he lives, so interesting. But yeah, how about some smart light bulbs? That would be a good thing to have if you were travelling for a long time. I know I can get a 3-month visa to visit Vietnam. Can that be extended in country, or would I need to leave and apply again? Look, I did get a comment from a viewer about, I'm sitting here free as a bird. I have a husband visa, so I don't have to do too much to get a visa. And they were saying, it is problematic because you have to leave the country to get that visa renewed, and that's the short answer to the question, Frugal Wanderer. The continued comment from that viewer was, or that subscriber was, and sometimes they might not let you back in, and that person had a friend that couldn't get back in. Now I've never heard of that except from that person, so that's going to stick in your craw if that happened to you. But yes, you need to leave the country and go back in, and I've seen many YouTubes of people doing that. They seem to go on a day trip bus ride from Ho Chi Minh to Cambodia and back again. So Frugal Wanderer, you could rip up to China. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So Australians now, because we are such good friends with China, can get 15 days visa-free into China. So in theory, if you were an Australian in Ha Long here, you could drive up to China, go to China for a week and then come back again. Now getting into China over a land border might be problematic, but that's an option. Frugal Wanderer is a Canadian, and so of course they're loved everywhere they go, so I don't think you'll have too much trouble. So yes, you'll have to leave and come back again. And then it's a 90-day visa though. I mean, I have a husband visa. I'm here for, it's a 5-year visa, but I can't stay more than 180 days. So don't ask me for the logic on that one. I've married a Vietnamese lady, but every 180 days I need to leave the country, probably find another lady, have some shenanigans, and then come back into the country again. So I'm not sure why a husband visa has to leave the country every 180 days, but that is the logic of Vietnam. I'm lucky. I'm only ever here about 100 days, so you know I'm in and out. I've got things to do across Asia and things to do back in Australia. Yeah, the 1-year visa in Cambodia sounds really good, and not having that stress of having to leave is great to have. I mean, that's a better visa than I've got, because I've got a 5-year visa but can't stay more than 180 days. I don't know the answer. Yeah, 6 days. So from here to the Chinese border is about an hour and a half's drive. I've been up there, lovely hot pot food up there. So you could, if you were in Ha Long here, the north of Vietnam, you could drive to China, stay for 6 days and drive back. I'd be checking out crossing at a land border. That's always a bit tricky. You know, Google. Morgan, yes. If you get to the land down under, let me know. I can point you in the right direction there. So, can us Aussies stay for 90 days, then go to Cambodia or China for a couple of hours, and then come back to Vietnam for 90 days? That is my understanding, Brendan. It used to be 30 days when I first came here, but most countries it's now gone to 90 days. So, Google. So yes, you can, well, I stand corrected. Australians have to apply for a visa, and that takes 3 or 4 days. Americans and Canadians and most other people in the world just get a visa on arrival. So you could go to Cambodia for an hour and come back and you're in. An Australian would have to go to Cambodia, apply for a visa, which takes 3 working days, and then try and come back in. So maybe a bit more problematic. If you're relying on a fat expat on YouTube for visa advice, you may run foul of the authorities. Do your own due diligence. It's tricky for Australians because I used to have to fill out and get a visa. In fact, I've had family members coming here, my 2 half-brothers. My father married another lady and has 2 sons that are in their 30s. Both of them got rejected. One of them did not apply in time for his visa, so did not get it and could not fly. And the other one, his girlfriend did not put all her names that are in her passport on the visa application, and so the girlfriend could not fly, so the other brother did not come. So 2 brothers coming to visit me. They were cycling across Indochina, but they were flying to Ha Long to check out the lay of the land and couldn't get here. So yeah, it is tricky. Yes, I do have to reapply for my 5-year visa, and it's a questionnaire or go to the wife. You know, has Vietnam Steve been a good husband? and I'm at her mercy, I guess. I think it's a formality. When I did get that visa, it took me a couple of hours at the visa place, and then the whole thing took about 2 weeks. You got to put the forms in, and then you have to arrange a appointment, and then they take your passport, and then a week later it comes. But it took about 2 weeks. I'm applying for a similar thing for my wife and the kids here to come to Australia. It takes 10 months, so it's difficult. Yeah, Canadians sound a bit like Australians in having to apply. Yeah, Mark, leaving Vietnam and re-entering will give you a new visa for 45 days, but it does depend what country you come from, Mark. It does depend what country you come from. So the visa situation was interesting when I went to get the visa. We had an appointment for 11 a.m. I got there at 10 in Hanoi, which is 2.5 hour taxi drive from here. And the queue was out the door into the street. So I sat down and had a good look at myself. And my wife found a gentleman who was organising for people to get to the front of the queue. So after about 10 minutes, she said, "Come with me." And I went straight to the front of the queue, handed my passport in, stamped it, got a receipt, and went off to lunch at about 10:30, half an hour before my appointment time, and much earlier than I was going to actually get into the place. I asked her what that cost, and she said $20. And I know you're all sort of reeling in horror that someone would pay a fee to get to the front of the queue. But if you want your passport expedited in Australia, you have to pay the government a fee. So there's not much difference between paying someone $20 to get to the front of the queue or having the government bend you over for $200 to get your passport back quickly. Probably just depends who's taking the money. The Dragon Castle is in Ha Long, not Hanoi, Solomon. I'm in Ha Long. This is the apartment that I live in. I was thinking at lunchtime I should do an apartment tour. I know a lot of people do them, so they must go off like hotcakes on YouTube. But I had a reason why I didn't want to do that. I can't remember now. I just find it boring. I mean, there's nothing here. There's 2 bedrooms and a kitchen, basically. And then people say, how much does it cost? How much would it cost to rent it? Well, depends on what you're getting as to what you rent. And it's all a bit of a bargaining thing. And how long are you going to stay? And it's just as easy to figure it out yourself. Oh, that coffee's good. Coffee is good. All right. So an apartment tour VART is requested by Solomon. Okay, well, I can do that tomorrow. The place is relatively clean, so that's half my chance. Yeah, I might do that. I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 or 4 rooms, so I could spend a minute in each one. That'll be 3 or 4 minutes. I could show you the downstairs. I've done that a few times, and then up to the pool. Problem up at the pool is it's full of kids and it just echoes. Again, popular places are not good for YouTube. Yeah. We've got a couple of bum guns here. I haven't got to the bum gun yet, but it is prevalent. That's an interesting story. When my sister's going to be coming here in October, and one of the things you would do when you went out around the streets as a Westerner, you probably should take some tissue paper with you, because not all of the WC toilets would have toilet paper. So as a lady, you'd probably want to have some toilet paper with you. As a man, if you're that way inclined, you might like to as well. I've never had a problem. I've always found toilets stocked, but it is a problem sometimes, I know. particularly if you stopped at if you stop at a roadhouse, it's like a Western setup. If you stop somewhere that's less than that, you might be left wanting. But they all have a bum gun. So this is the gurney that all the Chinese or Asian type toilets have, and they seem to work well. And everybody that's accustomed to them says they're fantastic. So I've probably got to break my virginity on that one at some stage. Brendan, good question. How many units in this building? So it's interesting. You guys do the maths. Brendan, get your calculator out. I'll rattle off what we've got here. So we've got 3 towers, and there's 23 levels. So 3 times 23. Take off 1 for the top and 1 for the ground floor. So there's probably 3 times 21. And then on each level, we would have, in each level of each of the towers, we'd probably have 20 units, 20 apartments. So you've got 20 apartments a floor, you've got 21 usable floors, that's 400, and you've got 3 towers, so it's probably 1,000 apartments here. It's a lot. I'm surprised. And they are all pretty full now. I mean, I only moved in here 6 months ago, but they're mostly full. There's a few to rent here, so the one 2 doors down is they call them homestays, like an Airbnb, a homestay. I saw one advertised for 5.7 million for the month. That is cheap. That sounds like it's about $400 Australian. That's pretty cheap for a month's accommodation. But you'd have to get a taxi where you went from here. It's 2 kilometres to the tourist area. Frugal Wanderer carries baby wipes. They're great. And you never know when you need them exactly. You usually need them when you haven't got them. I don't carry too much, but I'm very conscious of where I am going to be going. And in fact, one of the jokes in the family here, the in-jokes, is one of the daughters, every time she comes home from school or wherever, she's straight into the WC. So she's not going out there, she's going at home. So that's great. Yeah, 330 AUD. So I saw one advertised in this building for 330 Australian dollars. I've stayed in equivalent standard, but with a view of the bay. I have a view of the harbour here. And that was about over 10 million, so double that, $20 a day. I'd be working on $20 a day. That may well have been, well, I think it was a 2-bedroom, that one that was advertised, because, and I tried to send that to you, Brendan, but it was in Facebook and I couldn't get a link to Facebook, and you know, they make it hard. Well, I'm not your Facebook buddy. That's probably why I didn't send it to you, Brendan. I think it was the same as this one. This one's decked out really well because my wife is a good home decorator. But I don't know if I'd rent mine out for 330. I'd rather keep I'd rather not get the 330 and have this place not wrecked by you know, you never know who's going to rent it. I would rent it for 600 or 700 Australian dollars a month because I can live on that and go and live in my wife's house somewhere else. She's got a house as well. There's not. So that's 2 bedrooms, and I can see ships from here, but they are docked at the dock behind wheat silos, so it's a bit tricky. It's better at night because there's all lights out there. I sleep with the doors open, the breeze comes in. When I get back to Australia, I'm going to get one of those shots for Japanese encephalitis for the mosquitoes, because there are a lot of mosquitoes, not up here on level 18, but just generally in the area. And I don't want to get struck down by a mosquito-borne illness. Yeah, will do, Brendan. And when I retire, I plan on doing it there. I hope to open a hotel. Yeah, plenty of hotels here, Morgan. Plenty of hotels. And in fact, one of my friends has opened a hotel called the Felix Hotel, and she seems to be going gangbusters. She's just got someone in there to run it, and it's got a swimming pool on the roof, and I don't know how many rooms she's got, but looks like 5 stories and maybe 5 rooms a floor. So lovely place. Maybe I'll go there one day and do a Felix Hotel tour and give her a bit of a promo as well. The people that live here seem to be, well, now is holiday time, so they're all full, and I don't know, they seem to be young adults. There's a lot of young adults living here, so maybe their parents have bought one for them and they're living here. There seems to be a lot of kids up at the pool, so I don't know whether they're here on holidays or what. But I'll do a bit of a synopsis of who the hell's living here and what do they do. I'll do a bit of that, and that's good for a YouTube as well. That hotel is called Felix Hotel, and it's green in colour. So if you see it on Facebook, it'll be Felix Hotel Bai Chai, and it's green in colour. And that is in Bai Chai, Halong. So the pool's a bit short for laps. I think it's about 20 metres. And I didn't do laps. I walked up and down because the kids were skylarking. And of course, every kid here speaks English. So it's hello, how are you, what do you do? And I didn't do laps. I do walking laps. That's my laps. Very interesting. All right. Oh, another question here is an interesting one, and I know we've got a few prolific Vatas on the stream today, is joking on YouTube. And I put a joke into someone, I put a joke comment into Brian and Darlene, or Darlene and Brian's YouTube channel. They're a lovely Canadian couple that have just moved to Jomtien in Thailand. And I'm not sure if it's Brian and Darlene or Darlene and Brian, I forgot to look it up, but they're as funny as can be. And they asked the question that Solomon asked earlier about should they get a bike, a scooter, to get around. Now they're in their 60s as well. So I made the joke that you don't want to get a scooter because 1, they're not good for old people, and 2, it's too hot or too raining to scooter. And somebody came back and fired back an A4 page to me about being ageist and this, that and the other, when I felt like I was having a joke. So, what are people's thoughts about joking like that on YouTube, and how do you let people know you're joking? Do you put it in italics or red, or put a smiley face at the end? Or because you've got to be careful when we're texting that we're not giving the wrong story. You don't text in capitals, for instance. So I'd be interested to know how I should have phrased that when I was sort of tongue-in-cheek saying, a scooter's not good for old people because if you fall off, the injury may take a long time to heal, blah, blah, blah. Morgan, you're doing everything. Opening an English school, opening a hotel, goodness me, you're all over it. I had dinner, I had a family dinner probably 6 months ago now, and a guy turned up there. He runs one of these after school learning type places. It's a kindergarten type arrangement. It's a place where kids go to learn stuff. And he runs the whole chain across Vietnam. I said, how many staff have you got? He said 3,000. So they're very popular, those English schools. They're very popular, the after hours go and do maths, science, whatever schools. The kids here just study, study, study. My screen is going a little bit low. Let's see if I can make it a bit brighter. Well, my eyes are going crook. Let me just go to my computer, give it a punch up and see if I can get this screen a bit brighter, because the computer's obviously gone to sleep and now the screen's going a bit dark. Yeah, don't know if that, it's come brighter on the TV here now, but it had gone dark. So I met a kid the other day who's, I He'd be 12, I suppose. And he loves to study. In fact, he's the dux of his class. And over lunch, he's talking about what do I want to do and this, that, and the other, and where am I from? And he knew a lot about his government and how they are elected, and he knew a lot about Western governments like Australia and how our elections work. And he was explaining it all to me very well. So he's quite a smart little kid. And but they're going on holidays this week. That family's gone on holidays this week, and he didn't want to go because it's a week away, and he could do a lot of study in a week. That's what he said. I could do a lot of study in a week, so I don't want to waste it going on a holiday with my family. He's only 12 years old. What are you doing in the holidays? Now, you know, my daughters, one wants to learn the piano and the other one wants to learn cake decorating or flower arranging. He wants to study. And these kids have holidays for 3 months now. They're off in June, they're off in July, they're off in August, and they go back to school in September. So he wants to study. So kids here study a lot. And he's studying every day on the holidays. That's what he's doing. All right, let's catch up on the chat here. Put a lot of ha-ha-ha's at the end of the joke. Yeah. Sort of takes away from my subtle humour if I do that. But then again, maybe I've been misunderstood. The people that got it, Brian and Darlene, didn't misunderstand it. So they thought it was quite funny because they're always saying how old they are and how they're trying to stay healthy. So I'm not having a shot at them, and I'm not as old as them, but I will be shortly. Yes, exactly. As a Canadian, they would have got the joke themselves. They thought it was quite funny. Yeah, exactly. And they come from New England or somewhere up there. So, you know, they're not only funny up there, they're peculiar. Marsha, hi, nice to see you. Yeah, it looks fine. I think it's streaming fine, Solomon, but it's coming from my laptop, which is over here, to my TV, which is over there. I'm just mirroring the screen, and I think when the laptop goes to sleep, the screen thinks there's nothing coming. Rachel's quite wealthy, so you know, when you're wealthy, it's a different story for retiring Rachel. She's just going to retire, no hotels or schools. Rachel's a healthcare provider, and her hobby is woodwork, so she's making things. So that sounds like a great retirement. Thanks for the address of the Felix Hotel, Morgan. If you're ever in Vietnam, go to the Felix Hotel. Ask for Lynn. Lynn won't be there because she's got a manager in there. But make sure that Lynn knows that Vietnam Steve sent you. And then next time I go to Lynn's house, I'll get a free beer for sure. That might be the hotel. I can't look it up here now, but that is the right address. Bai Chai Ha Long Quang Ni. Yeah, Felix Hotel. And if you look at the pictures of it, it's green in colour, lime green, so you can't miss it. Yeah, it was your old stomping grounds, Frugal Wanderer, because just the other day you mentioned something about the Arctic Circle that you came from, and I thought, goodness me, that's the same place almost where Brian and Darlene come from. I should put you guys in touch. They come from Prince Edward Island, so their trip to Thailand was about 65 hours or something. Yeah. Now, where are we here? 5:21 in Ha Long. We've only got a few more minutes. I'm going to wrap it up at the hour because I know live streams that go more than an hour drive me nuts. And also, you've got things to do. It is the same hotel. Morgan, you're a genius. Thank you. I probably should have all these things at my fingertips. Lynn works in a bank, obviously. And has a very lovely house. So you imagine a house that's right on the bay that looks at the picturesque postcards of Ha Long, and Lynn has a house right there. And so it's the probably the best house in Ha Long, I reckon. And you know, if I won lotto or one of those things, I'd probably not buy that house, but I'd seriously just about have enough money to. Yeah, that's what I heard. You'd been in Prince Edward Island. Now, I saw some photos of Prince Edward Island. I reckon there's only about 6 people there. So you would probably know these people and you would know where they lived. They actually lived in a, I think it was a nursing home, and the lady, Darlene, was a nurse of sorts, or worked in the kitchen or something. She worked at the nursing home and managed to get an apartment at the nursing home and lived there. So you're living in manicured grounds. How good is that? Anyway, they've thrown it all in and they've moved to Thailand, and that takes some balls. So I'm pretty chuffed to see their channel. I'll do one more question and then we'll wrap it up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We're getting up there. We're at 850 or there. Oh, we're 852. It's on the screen. The watch hours are a mile behind because I'm not an everyday poster. I'm a twice a week, maybe Vata. And also the content is special to me, but maybe not special to everybody else. So I'm not too worried about that. Oh, look, my next question comes from Frugal Wanderer. You're in the book here, Sean. Phone sims. What's the best phone sim to get when you come to Vietnam? My phone sim is from a company called Mobifone. It works well, although my home country sim, not important, roams on a company called Viettel. And I noticed this morning I turned off the Wi-Fi and the Mobifone had 1 bar and the Viettel had all bars. So clearly there was stronger Viettel in the apartment, level 18, than Mobifone, stronger reception. When I was in the street, they were both the same. So I think Mobifone is like the 3rd level provider. But I don't know what it costs. It's about it's so small I don't know. It's $6 a month or thereabouts, and I think it's 4 gig a day, so I never use 4 gig. And the other one is called Vinaphone. But essentially, if you're coming for a month, it doesn't really matter. They're all going to run you $6, $7, $8, and they're all going to have 60 gigs probably. I like the ones that have so many gigs per day because you don't use a lot of gigs in a day. Particularly, everywhere's Wi-Fi. In fact, the 2 restaurants I went to today, I did photograph the Wi-Fi because I was going to put that in the video I did, but I've deleted it now. So there you go, Sean. You got a question in. What's the best SIM to have? There may be SIMs. I don't know if there's SIMs that do work between Cambodia and Vietnam, but one of the things that's useful to get is a phone with 2 SIM cards. Then you can have one from where you come from. And I'd have that, and then you can have one from the country you're in. You just put the SIM in. So when I come to Vietnam, I put my Vietnam SIM in, and I'm up and running. eSIMs, yeah, can't get into eSIMs, Rachel. But if you have an eSIM in your phone, like I have, then your SIM slot is free, and you can have multiple SIMs working at once. So I have 1, 2, or 3 eSIMs, but I only use one, and I have a SIM card in there. Would you consider buying a property in Vietnam? Now that's a good question. I probably wouldn't, because it's difficult for a non-Vietnamese to own a property. I have bought this property here, but it's in my wife's name. In fact, in this building, only Vietnamese people can buy in this building. So they're trying to make it cheap for Vietnamese nationals rather than get swamped by China in the north. I probably wouldn't, because I'm over 60 and I don't need the headaches of something like that going pear-shaped, Mark. You could buy an apartment. There are apartments you can buy. They run to about 150k Aussie, so 120k US. You'll have a great apartment looking out at Ha Long Bay, but there are unknown problems that come about with those things. This is in my wife's name, so all I've got to do is be good to my wife, and life goes on. Yeah, you need 2 SIMs in Australia because our coverage is horrendous. That's exactly right, Rachel. You know me well. You know me like a brother. I have 2 SIMs in Australia because I operate off a cheap company's SIM, which works really well for frugal Steve. But of course, a couple of times a year, I go to a place where that SIM doesn't work. So I have to have another SIM that I put in for those particular events. Oh, well, thank you all for sticking with me. It's really been great to interact with you all on the comments. It's great when the comments are coming through super fast. I've got 11 questions in my book here. I've got down to number 4 with the Frugal Wanderer. The next question's from Brendan Sharp, but we'll save that one for the next live stream. And I'll let you all go about your day. I'll sign off. It's Vietnam Steve. I love the comments. I love people liking the videos, and I love the new subscribers. I'm trying to get to 1,000, but that's not going to change anything that I do because my watch hours are a mile behind. So if you do have a chance to watch one of my videos, please share it with your best friend, if you have a best friend. And that way we'll get the watch hours up a little bit. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's 5:30 here in Vietnam. Have a great day wherever you are, and thanks for joining. I'll shut it down now.